Thank you for watching, liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing right now.
Broadcasting live. Theoretically, it should be going out over the interwebs, and it seems to, at least that I know of. Okay, I think we're live, but here's the thing. I don't think anybody realizes that we're live. So let me go over to Google Plus and paste in the URL and say this should be live on YouTube. This is the first time that I have done any kind of broadcast on YouTube live. Of course, I've uploaded several thousand videos. It looks like the embed may be working, or at least it should be working. Let's go ahead and post that on Ping FM so that people who are following me on Twitter and Facebook and MySpace and the like will know that it's going on. And then, of course, I'll pop over to, I believe, the primary YouTube channel and see a live chat so that I can start answering questions. This should be live. Ping. Message has been posted. Now, let's see if it actually works. I have no idea if this is actually really going to work. I'm using Wirecast to broadcast out. It was a little strange to see it actually in the configuration process, but unfortunately, I don't know if there's any way other than refreshing the page to know whether or not someone is asking questions. Oh, there we go. Live comments. Cool. So, Robert says that it's working. Awesome. I'm waiting for the rest of it to stream in. Of course, I probably could have done a better job at announcing the time that we were going to go live, but really I'm doing nothing more than experimenting to see if the live video feed will in fact work by way of YouTube. Oh, can you please increase your volume? Thank you for the live feedback there. Let me go ahead and bump that up. Is that better for you? The mic I'm using right now is a Rode mic, as reviewed a few weeks ago in the YouTube channel. I'm having some live juice. Now, the funny thing is I'm already broadcasting at live.pirillo.com. Oh, I wonder if the battery on the microphone's giving out. That may very well be the case. Okay, so it looks like the mic, he says, or someone says, Sims Daniel 101 says, much better. Hey, Creighton, glad you could tune in. Really high quality, good to know. I'm just broadcasting, though. This is a Shiraz, R. Levine 42. I'm not broadcasting in HD. This is the a 640 by 320 stream out of the Canon HV40, again with the Rode mic. I did bump up the audio quality based on the live feedback. According to YouTube, this will actually be recorded. I have no idea how it's going to turn out, but that's one of the reasons why we're just experimenting. And as I kind of noted before, I am live streaming at live.pirillo.com as well. I just wanted to see how quickly I could get this really running. So feel free to pop in and ask a question either in the chat room, which you may have been used to, or specifically in the YouTube comment thread. It seems to take a couple seconds to catch up, but I think everything should be working just fine. I'm no stranger to live video, naturally, but just wondering if it's even really worth doing live. Do you think YouTube live is really all that exciting? Let's see here. Anybody got any questions? No questions. Great. Well, because see, if you don't have any questions, I'm just going to start building Lego, and you know I'm going to do it. Because I've got a set behind me that I got to review for our Brick Tricks channel. Don't know if you subscribe to that, but we're going to spin up, or have effectively spun up, a separate YouTube channel specifically related to bricks, or Lego and the like. You can upload your own videos there at lockergnome.com/upload. Says 360p here also, looks much better. Cool. Do you see Google Plus as a threat to Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of the above? None of the above. I do see it as a threat, actually. Not a horrible threat, no more than Facebook's a threat to to Twitter, or really no more than Facebook's a threat to LinkedIn. I think Google is just beginning. And if you think about it, and this is what I spoke to the other day at a local event. When people go to look for things online, where do they go? Google, usually. And now that Google has their own, I would say, truer social network. I mean, they had Buzz for a long time, but come on, Buzz, really? But now that Google has their own network and they're able to see how relationships connect, I think the validity in those relationships and those connections, specifically on Google Plus, will soon translate into search results. The future of search is social. So I believe it's important for everybody to start paying attention to what Google is doing with Google Plus, if only because you can see that I have a certain amount of followers on Google Plus, and these are people who are saying, yeah, we really believe in Chris. We trust the things that he's doing, even if he's drinking live question and answer juice. I don't know. Either way, the relationships that I've been building can suddenly be quantified through Google and verified through Google, and the content that I'm saying is mine is suddenly potentially going to be seen as valid content in regular old search results in Google. So I believe that Google Plus is going to, really take SEO up a notch. If Google is doing it, in my estimation, the right way. And for that, it's probably going to be a threat to Facebook, LinkedIn, StumbleUpon, Twitter, and beyond because of the SEO value. Being a link that rises higher in the overall rankings. That's what everybody wants, right? So the fact that I have a good following on Google Plus today, I think is only going to translate into more attention across the board, whether it's videos as published through YouTube or blog posts on chris.pirillo.com and blog posts on lockernome.com as well. Is it better to drink? Oh, it just jumped. Sorry. Would you move your blog to Google Plus if you can enable advertisements? No, I don't think I would move my blog to Google Plus. I've got chris.pirillo.com, but I also have chrispirillo.com, and you might notice that chrispirillo.com is, I've got to jump out of there and then lock this again. Here's a QR code, and hopefully that preview is working just fine. I don't really, hang on, just give me a second. Should be working fine. Actually, that QR code may work on your end. That QR code will take you to chrispirillo.com, which right now is nothing more than a masked About Me page. I don't think I would move my blog. I do believe, however, that advertisements are certainly coming to Google+. Whether or not they share those ads with the people who are creating streams on Google+, that remains to be seen. Facebook has ads. Twitter has ads. YouTube has ads. Yes, my blogs have ads. And I think Google will likely have ads as well. I mean, if you look at Google's business model, it's not search. It's serving you ads everywhere. And to think otherwise is just foolish. Ads will likely come. I would be interested in playing with those models. I've never had a problem with that anywhere else. And I've certainly helped other people do that as well, and they've never had any complaints. In terms of making money online, I don't shy away from that at all. I mean, how else am I going to afford boxed wine? And yes, it is boxed wine. I like YouTube Live. Seems to be the best live streaming service you've used so far. Very good quality. Thank you very much. I'm using Wirecast to broadcast out right now. Blogging IT guy asks, dude, you going to be at PAX this weekend? No, not as such. I've been invited. That being said, not by, who is it, Gabe and... But I would go. I have gone in the past. It's just that nothing really interesting is happening there, and then I know it's in town, but everybody seems to be going. Why would I go? If everybody else is going, why would I even bother to go? Where's Chris reading the comments questions from? Now, that question came from the chat room at live.pirillo.com. The live video feed that's being broadcast on YouTube right now. Fantastic answer. Thanks for all the details. Well-thought response. Thank you. From Miguel Carrasco. And I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong. I don't like that I can't send... Oh. I missed that there. I can't send that last answer in a small video to my social networks. They'll have to fish through this long video. Great stuff. Thank you with Serendipity. That's the username. Has Google made a truly social media network or just a social media layer? I think Google is making a social network that is going to be layered on top of search. Or vice versa. That's the power of Google+. And if you're not paying attention to it, you are incredibly short-sighted. Think about Google's business model. This isn't just, a playground. This is really the gateway for sharing content, silly or serious, and really quantifying down to the relationship level, and even giving Google the ability to layer on a topography on top of the connections we're already making. It's giving Google a chance to tap into that, and previously they didn't have that. This is extremely valuable to advertisers. You could get an idea without me tagging anything really about what kind of content I like posting. Technology, silliness, fun, and certainly Lego, geekery in general, all across the board. So knowing that, and I also post stuff about Seattle as well, and knowing that in automated terms could translate well to serving up people who would be my followers relevant advertising, and potentially even lining up direct sponsorship for me to keep delivering the things that I'm regularly delivering, geek-related content, and everybody wins. I think this is a big deal, potentially bigger than Facebook, I would say. I mean, people go to Google to search. Right now, people go to Facebook to connect with friends. Well, where does Google Plus lie? I think it lies somewhere in between, but of course, skews to Google since it is a Google product. iOS 5 or not, I would easily say iOS 5 FTW. Cannot wait to upgrade. I've only seen beta screenshots. I'm not a part of the developer program. Don't really want to be. Steve Jobs' health. Any news, Chris? Frankie Savvy. No news as such. I'm not really following that. I would like to believe, however, that he has imparted enough knowledge so that should he take a turn for the worse, Apple could continue as a company, and as long as they stay true to their ethos, they will succeed. I've talked about that with videos in the past. Ever been asked to be a speaker at the WWU Business School? Not that I know of. MS Sutherland J. How do you describe Google Plus to your friends who haven't jumped on board yet? This is funny. It's turning into like a Google Plus discussion here. And not that I have an agenda. Dr. Fu, I describe it as Facebook, but in a more public capacity. Google Plus is a lot like Facebook pages, if you think about it. Less about like the Facebook personal feed and more like Facebook pages. So I can browse a Facebook page if they have their privacy settings open and see everything that's there, much like I could do a Google Plus profile. So it's like Facebook pages more than a Facebook personal profile. How was your day? It was good. I ended up talking with Michael Mozart, the Fail Toys guy. We talked about Lego history, and I ended up recording that particular hangout with he and a few other people, or him and a few other people. English major. Give me a second. I got to think about this. With him and a few other people. And that will be going up onto the Locker Gnome channel, if only to cheese our Brick Tricks channel. BRICKTRIX.com. Right now that redirects to the YouTube channel. Should I wait for the Samsung IFA or buy a new phone now, Galaxy S Plus, or something you recommend? I'm a student. Honestly, you can get like countless Android phones for free. Why you'd even spend money on an Android phone is beyond me. You can get them for free. And I guess even today you could get the iPhone 3GS 8 gig model for free as well. I would totally go with a free Android device. Don't spend money if you don't need to, especially if you're a student. Wonder if all the live comments get converted to individual comments. I really don't know. Should they open source WebOS? Yeah, that would be kind of awesome if they did. WebOS will, of course, continue. The HP Touchpad hardware itself will not. I was lucky enough, theoretically, knock on wood, to order one on Amazon. That order has not been rescinded at this point in time. I got a 32 gig model for $150. It is by, I guess, by my estimation, going to be probably, likely, possibly, got to throw all these caveats in there, the best, or at least lowest priced Android tablet, best price for performance Android tablet on the market once the community has developed software to effectively allow Android to run on the HP Touchpad. WebOS is still pretty decent. Needs some optimizations, and it will likely continue that way. But for $99 or $150, and I got the 32 gig for $150, I think it's going to be an amazing Android tablet. Absolutely. Come on. I mean, the hardware itself cost a little over $300, and the fact that you could get it for like a third that it's just astounding. I bought it knowing that WebOS might run on it for a short while, but I expect to see Gingerbread within the next few weeks. At least that's what the team, I think they call them what they call them? Touch Droid? There's a hashtag on Twitter, Touch Droid, I believe. We'll soon release that. Honeycomb, of course, is not as open. And then Ice Cream Sandwich, they hope they'll be able to throw on those tablets as well. It's interesting that Google acquired Motorola. It was speculated in TUAW today that, yes, of course, Google acquired it for the patents. But what if Google acquired Motorola, if only to create a closed version of the Android experience? Really putting it on par with the iPhone or the iOS experience in conjunction with the iPad, iPod Touch, or the iPhone. Have you had a chance to use Windows Phone? What are your thoughts? I'm sorry, I missed the username there. I apologize. I'm now starting to get a few more comments. Miguel, again. I've only played with it a few times. Seems decent. Still needs to mature. You saw in the video that we recorded at the Gadget event live, Mango, still not fully polished, but they've got some nice features in there, and certainly will provide a lot of competition to both Apple and any of the Google Android devices out there. For the lack of a better word, I would have thrown WebOS in there as well, but its future's a bit in question. Are you glad to see rain return to the Pacific Northwest, says Stephen Boxter. Yes, I love the rain. Autumn is my favorite time of year. Chris, did YouTube invite you to stream, or has this been available to you for some time? Oh, the creative one. They've invited me, and I gotta tell you, the inspiration behind doing this was the live YouTube hangout that I did with the Fail Toys YouTuber. He's got close to like 400,000 subscribers, and I've known about him for some time, and he invited me to a Google Plus hangout, and he says, hey, do you want to do YouTube Live? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? Figured I'd give it a shot. And so I started playing around. I'm like, let me see if this is even worth doing on a regular basis on YouTube, because YouTube is a huge audience. And I've been doing live streaming at live.pirillo.com for, 4 years now, racked up like 40 million viewer hours. We'll see if the YouTube model's better. And it seems that the quality is doing well. I could probably push out the same quality as I do through live.pirillo.com as well. What screensaver am I using? Electric Sheep? No, currently not Electric Sheep. I stopped using that after Comcast throttled me. This is the Arabesh. Talk about having Star Wars on the brain. Arabesque. Let's see here. I'm going to scroll back up here. What are your thoughts on the Google Plus real name policy? Okay, Dr. Fu. And again, I'm just answering questions as they come. There's no agenda with this particular stream. My thoughts. So getting back to what I was saying about Google knowing the relationships that I have online and quantifying, or at least creating a topology of who's following me, legitimate people following me, it then ties into, and we skirted around this discussion earlier, reputation. So instead of being a nameless, faceless entity, I'm a real person, a trusted person. Anonymity absolutely has its place. I think the internet would change in a very bad way should anonymity ever be allowed to... well, I shouldn't say be allowed. Should anonymity ever be banned from the internet, I think we would suffer as a human race, globally, we would suffer. I think anonymity absolutely has its place. I've done video on this before, but the reason why I believe Google has gone after this particular and really made an issue out of real names versus virtual names. I mean, a virtual name like Locker Gnome, if I was only known as that. Well, no, I'm known as Chris Pirillo because I'm a real human being. I'm a real person. And there's so much out there today, you don't know who you can trust anymore. Well, suddenly, if I have all these connections coming in, these are real people, and I'm a real person, they're saying this real person, we trust what they have to present, if in a small percentage or large percentage, to use that word, that reputation means a lot. That's value, and you can gain reputation as a brand. But you can also gain reputation when you put your real name on the line. I mean, my real identity is at stake. And to date, nobody has really pushed out an effort to, place a value on reputation. Wikipedia has not. Twitter has not. Even Facebook has not. Google is taking a hardline approach to this. And while I absolutely value anonymity, I think what Google is doing is pushing that ball forward in terms of reputation. And now, when I sit here and I might talk about, okay, for example, Lego, or technology, or wine, I might be seen as authoritative to a certain degree. I've never claimed to be an expert. Certainly not in Lego. Definitely not in wine. But it's my reputation, and my reputation is tied into my real name. This isn't a pseudonym. This is my existence. And Google, I think, is going to make it easier for you, as someone who might trust my opinions and advice, to really connect with me and understand that I am a real person, but not just me, but everybody else who's in this playing field. This is not a virtual world. Google is not indexing a virtual world. It's indexing the real world. And by, I realize clamping down on this issue, I think it's going to benefit Google. I don't think it's going to hurt Google at all. I really don't. They're really doing something in that way that I haven't seen any other major network really do at all. Do you know how to get a verified name on Google Plus? Says Ryan Hansen, or Rye Hansen 72. No, I woke up one day and it was there. I'm verified. I mean, I knew I was real. Obviously, I wasn't faking anything. And if you look at the tab, I think it's the About tab, you'll see all of my connected profiles there. My Ustream profile, YouTube profile, Twitter profile, Locker Gnome profile, all the social profiles I have are there. And so they knew it was me, or at least knew enough that it was me, and that the fact that I tweeted out that profile link or had blogged about it, they could verify that it was indeed me. And I think they're going after the top users first. And at this point in time, and I'm going to enjoy the time while I can, I guess I'm being followed. I don't know how many people are following me right now on Google Plus, but I'm 35th most followed right now, which is kind of cool for 3 million people there. That's likely going to slip in a short amount of time, but so I'm enjoying it while I can. It's fun. Okay, I'm more afraid of Facebook than Google Plus, says Stephen Boxter. Yeah, there's a reason to be afraid of both. I'm afraid of any entity that isn't my own. You never know what they're going to do with your data. You really don't. You should treat every entity that uses your data, your identity, with extreme caution. Because yes, while Google knows I am me and they verified me, if Google decides that they're going to cut me off, and I don't know if you guys caught Boobygate, it was last week. I don't know if I've still got the photo on my iPhone. I took a picture of a Lego Stormtrooper tucked in between my girlfriend's breasts in her cleavage, and it was taken offline. I have no idea what happened to it. It was gone, And someone reached out from Google Plus saying, well, we didn't remove it. I know I didn't remove it. It's just gone. I think it got flagged by so many people. They thought it was questionable. It was cute. I thought it was funny. I like Lego, and I love my girlfriend, and we both enjoy Lego, so we were having fun. But my point is, Google could have kicked me out for posting something that they didn't want me to post if I violated the terms of service. Although that wasn't a direct violation, it only would have been a direct violation if I would have made that my avatar, my face. And the reason, by the way, I don't know if you knew this on Google Plus. The reason I have my real face on Google Plus, and I'm not very happy with the one I'm using right now, I may change it up. The reason why it's real there versus everywhere else like YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and beyond is because of search results. If you go to Google and you search for something like that I've done on YouTube, Twitter, on my blog, chris.pirillo.com, lockergnome.com, or beyond, you'll see an icon show up. It says Chris Pirillo with my icon. They're taking from my Google Plus profile, but they'll only use your icon associated with your content if you are, let me see if I get this right, if that's a real face. So that's the reason why it's a real face. How do you get on Google Plus? Either get invited, or you're old enough, or you're kind of already there. See if we've got any other questions here. With HP throwing in the towel, asks McCline73, who benefits in the end? I don't think they're throwing in the towel. I just think that they're firing on a lot of cylinders and looking for what's going to ignite. It certainly, in my opinion, was a bit premature for them to back out of the touchpad experience. But I also said, as I did in the live hangout, as recorded, not on YouTube, but we recorded the hangout live, and then I uploaded it to YouTube this weekend. If they would have released the touchpad at a $99 or $150 price point, yes, they would have lost a lot of money, but they would have gained an insane amount of, well, I would say not just goodwill, but market share over time. And really, more than anything, they gained a lot of mind share. The HP touchpad was the #1 selling device this weekend on Amazon. People were going crazy over this thing because it was just so insanely cheap. They're retooling things. I think they'll get it right. HP's a pretty big company. They've got a lot of intelligent people there. And really, you've got a lot of outstanding products. The HP touchpad is not a bad product. It just likely had a very difficult time competing against the iPad. Just like every other product out there that tries to compete in the tablet space. Why do you choose iOS over Android? Good question. I don't know if I've answered this recently, but for me, it's about experience. And right now, I cannot get an Android device other than the HP touchpad, which I'll turn into an Android device. I can't get an Android device that gives me the same experience. It gives me the same features, potentially, but the same experience is really, what I appreciate. And it's, let's also look at it another way. The fact that I've been using iOS so long, I've got a lot invested in it. I've purchased games and apps for iOS. I'd have to repurchase them for another platform. This is the whole debate on Mac versus PC. I believe it's getting easier and easier to look to Android as a full-fledged solution. I get interested every time. Every time they release a new OS, I'm extremely interested. Go back and look. I keep telling you, they continue to mature at breakneck speed. And Ice Cream Sandwich may be the thing that flips the trigger for me. Maybe that's the thing that go, I think I'm ready. It could happen. It could always happen. I would never say I'm going to use something for the rest of my life. Never. Never in a million years. No one could ever say that. They're crazy to even think that. I mean, products continue to evolve. So while I do use Android, my Google TV runs Android. Love it. My HP touchpad will soon run Android. I will likely love that. Especially for the price. I'm happy enough with what I have right now, and I keep looking for something better. I'm always looking for something better. And that's the key. What's good for me and what's better for me may not be better for you. What's choice for me may not be choice for you. And I think more than anything, Android has provided iOS the competition that it has desperately needed. And that, for no other reason, is a great reason to love Google for what they're doing with Android. Do you think new smartphones coming with true HD displays will be expensive? Well, sure. But of course, as time marches on, what costs a lot today isn't going to cost a lot next year. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. Things are getting smaller, faster, cheaper, every single year. And, who stands to benefit from this? You. More selection, more products for you to see and get what you want. So, yeah, they may be expensive today, but a year from now, not so much. So, do you want to buy bleeding edge? Well, that's a decision that only you can make. I would not say that you need to have something like that. It'd be nice to have, but ultimately you have to buy something that's going to serve your needs. Hey Chris, this is cool, says the cool Carmen. Thank you. You should open up the 888 number, Chris. No, probably not for a while. There are too many issues with it. Specifically, I would go through a stint of wasting a half hour of my time with people who were just wasting my time. So it was not as fun for me anymore after a while. But I still like doing it. I still like taking questions. I have a question. What company? This is from Ryan Orton Lynch. What company would you like to see develop the next major mainstream OS? Because I would really like to see a new mainstream OS to continue my day-to-day use of my gaming system. Next major mainstream OS. That's a toss-up. Google, I think, is going to be doing a lot. I mean, they've certainly got something going with Chrome OS and Chromebooks specifically. Apple is continuing to drive the ball forward, and you're saying, never buy a Mac. Well, imagine if you have an iPhone, an iPad, an iPod Touch, and for argument's sake, let's say they enable more crossover with Mac OS X. And all the apps that you have here could suddenly translate into a full-on Mac or a computer that has a touch screen. That's a good proposition, especially if you've already spent money or you've got a lot invested in the software itself. Sewing those two things together, that's something pretty powerful. Microsoft may bridge that gap with Windows 8. Let's hope. We've already talked about that and what they plan on doing with HTML5 on the desktop. I only have Scuttlebutt at this point in time. And rumor has it that Windows 8 will be a pretty big departure from experience from what you've been used to with at least Windows 7 at this point in time. Either way, in terms of a gaming system, gaming's moving towards the web. Windows has certainly got great games with, not just games for Windows, but Xbox. Google's got some web-based games, and that's really what they're enabling, which is good for everybody because then it doesn't matter what platform you're on, you should be able to play a game that's playable in a web browser. I do a lot of my games here or on my tablet. Whatever I have sitting in front of me. Even though I have Xbox 360, PS3, Wii, I have pretty much every single console today, modern consoles. But I just don't use them all that much. Maybe for playing back a DVD, but for gaming, I don't know. Not as much anymore. Maybe I'm alone in that. I can't imagine I am though. I think a lot of people are playing games on portable devices these days. Nintendo, oh my God, they are definitely getting their cartridge handed to them, if you know what I mean. Let's see here. Do you know anything about the Google Plus business pages, kind of like Facebook pages? Says Daniel Music. No, I do not, unfortunately. Do not know much. I'm not invited. I do have a business, but I do not have a Google Plus business page, even in beta. Love your show. Thank you, the AM shows. What's your opinion? Oh, it scrolled. What's your opinion of ideas like the semantic web? Sorry, it's a little awkward to read when I have to fill in punctuation at times. JP Bradle asks that question. My opinion, it's a good thing. Using our natural structure in semantically connecting points with other points. If machines could catch up with what we're doing, the semantic web, I think, will be possible. Until then, it requires way, way too much thinking. I've seen a few projects, one of which I covered at CBIT last year, which could apply semanticism on top of digital content. And we're certainly getting there, and I think it's a great idea, but at this point in time, everything is just too manual. The machines have yet to catch up, and I mean the machines in general, software, probably in relation to hardware, because I'm sure it's very, very, very hardware intensive, to crunch that kind of data and making those connections. Let's see here. Do you think Windows will ever die out and go away? Says the Gamer Revolt. Do I think that? I think everything could die out and go away, to use your phrase. To think that any piece of technology will live forever. Come on. Come on. Really? No one could ever say that. And certainly companies could find themselves backed into a corner, potentially into obscurity. You got to hand it to Microsoft, though. I mean, once they realized that this was their race to lose, and they were losing the race, they picked up the ball and ran with it, and I would say quite well. After Vista shipped, those dark years, they released Windows 7, which is a fantastic operating system. Windows 8 will hopefully be even more fantastic. Hopefully they've been learning their lessons. Apple's iterated just as frequently, if not more frequently, with Mac OS X, and certainly with iOS. Android, again, breakneck development. Google with not just Android, and Apple not just with iOS, or not just with iOS and OS X, but the web browsers, right? Whether they're WebKit based like Google Chrome or Apple's Safari. But now Internet Explorer, they've already got a preview version of 10, and 9's not even out of the gate. So, this competition is very healthy, and that's really, and not to say Firefox is not a part of it. They are. They absolutely are. In fact, Firefox is now they now have a much quicker release schedule in terms of how they iterate the web browser. And I think this is increasingly important because software is no longer something that you download onto a disk. It's not something you get from a CD anymore, really. And I know software still comes on CDs, but if software does not continue to evolve, it's dead. And there's a lot of dead software out there, and that's sad. I think our expectations as users these days is that software will be just updated. When there's a new version available, it'll update. It's living. I've said that for quite a while. And Windows is software. Will it ever die? Again, there's a potential, but I don't think so. I really don't. Windows is very, very powerful. Then again, so's the Chrome OS, a very, very potentially powerful operating system, as well as another derivation of Linux. Ubuntu has the possibility to do better or potentially fall into obscurity, just as much as Microsoft could. I guess it all depends on if they care to stay up to date, if they care to keep our mind share as users, as if they can iterate to stay up to date with trends. I mean, just like a website, you would not expect a website to be static. You would expect it to be living, and software and operating systems certainly, I think, fall right into that category. Let's see here. Is it possible? Is a possible touchscreen iMac really a smart move for Apple? Most touch-enabled desktops aren't very good and are uncomfortable for you to use. Says Brandon Tech 18. It's interesting. There is a patent that Apple has on an iMac that you see the iMac screen like this, that slides down like this. So this is just imagine this is the base, and then it slides down like that. So yes, doing this would be uncomfortable, but doing this would be far more comfortable. I think touchscreen iMacs are certainly going to come. Does that mean that the iPad's going to go away? I doubt it. It's very lightweight. You can only do so much on an iPad. You can do a lot, but just so much. I think touchscreen Macs are coming. They may have smaller screens at first, but it kind of seems to be inevitable, really. And there have been touchscreen iMacs, more really hacks, the Axiom tablets. If that was the brand, Axiom, I'm asking the chat room as if they knew. It's coming, and it makes sense. It's just it's going to add a lot of expense, and let's face it, Macs pretty much own the premium PC market these days. Is the expense justified? I guess that remains to be seen. Certainly, we've seen a lot more touch-enabled features, through the use of touchpad gestures in Mac OS X. There has been a want for more touch experiences, and I think that will come to desktop operating systems when the hardware catches up in terms of price and really, I think, the support of the actual software. Apple, I think, would be further ahead than even Windows. Even though Windows has had touchscreen experiences, they tended to be a bit lackluster, largely because they're relying on resistive touchscreen technology rather than capacitive. Completely different experience altogether. Not to mention, imagine, as I said before, if Apple also ported their iOS apps to a desktop that was touch-enabled. I mean, game over at that point, really. I mean, Apple's got quite a footprint. And hopefully Microsoft will see this too and continue to develop touch experiences beyond what they've done before. And really, honestly, if you're to look at it, the touch experiences with Microsoft have been nothing more than just a touch layer on top of an experience that's really driven by mouse and keyboard, and that creates a very, 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 very disjointed experience. Alex Sereno asks, do you have a favorite Lego set? Yes. The one that I'm currently using, whatever that happens to be. I have no idea what that is, really, because I like getting different Lego sets. Chris, what are your thoughts about hardware manufacturers suffering from the patents law? Scrolled off again. Too many comments. Oh, something about patents law, and that was it. And then it scrolled. Patent lawsuits, found it, which are delaying future hardware innovations. This is a toughie. I would side on, I would side with those who believe that those types of patents are damaging. I would. Patents certainly have their place, but I think they do more to hinder competition. And, because of that, especially in the software realm, I think we're all hurt. Consumers, enterprise, the entire ecosystem of humanity is hurt by hardware and software patents. Not to say that they're not valuable, but they're valuable to a point. I think when the idea of patents came into being, it was a good idea. But today, innovation happens in a weekend. And, without even knowing it, you could spend an ungodly amount of time doing something only to realize you've really tread on somebody's patents. And an idea that was great when packaged that way may not be so great when you realize that you have to take a part out of it because someone else owns the patent, hardware or software. Think about it, and coming back to Lego, I've got a little set here that I was putting together earlier. So I've put together this configuration of Lego bricks, and this is what it looks like. I could take these same bricks and build something completely different. And if you think about these bricks as components in software or hardware, let's say someone's got a patent on this particular piece. And this particular component here is going to do something amazing and pivotal to the success of this particular project. If I take this out, this is no longer interesting. But if I put it in here, then it is good. But let's say someone else owns this particular piece. And now this is it's just boring. It's just a Lego tree. you could think of software patents in much the same way. I mean, just bits and pieces that separate, are strong, but when you remix them into different configurations, could create a completely different product altogether. This is the whole idea behind what Web 2.0 was or is, sharing and remixing and really freeing data and experiences to be mixed together. And software patents just kind of, they fly in the face of that. Hardware as well. McCline asks, for movies, do you prefer Blu-rays or streaming? Netflix at this point in time. Can you see this, Chris? Says Knife for Life. Yes, I can. Do you think with reverse scrolling and OS X Lion, Apple is trying to train users for an iOS-like desktop software? This is where I think the touchscreens will come into play. That's possible. I, of course, turned off that feature. I like scrolling the normal way on my desktop. Everybody's different, though. But it is a distinct possibility that Apple could be grooming you, whether you knew it or not. Do you think home internet speeds, says H. Lawler73, will match Google fiber speeds in the near future? Oh, one could hope. I wish Google was here. I wish I had true competition in Seattle, but I don't, unfortunately, because of political restrictions. I have to, I get what I get. Either broadband from a DSL provider, broadband, what is it, a megabit? I either go that route or I go with cable. Realistically, cable is the better choice for someone like me, someone who craves bandwidth. If Google were everywhere, man, competition. I guess if there was a thread through this entire live discussion, I think competition would be it. Without competition, I think we're all in big trouble. Will you buy a new Mac soon, Chris? No, but I do plan on getting my hands on a PC, and I do plan on giving away a few PCs. Now, more details on that will be coming soon. It's in conjunction with the webcast that I'll be doing. Again, in coming weeks, stay tuned for that. You likely caught the tweet. If not, I don't know why you missed it. I shared it the other day. So I'll be getting a new PC before I get a new Mac. Just tuned in. The big wine glass makes you look very sophisticated. Thank you very much. It also holds a lot of wine. Says Hirukaki. What do you think of the white MacBook? I bought mine in January and I feel betrayed by Apple. Oh, okay. What do you think about the HP Touchpad? Would you recommend it? Manly Shaytard, if that is your real name. I just did a video on that Friday night. Watch it. Dude, I outlined everything right there. And yes, the bottom line is I would recommend it if you can get your hands on it. It's going to be an amazing Android tablet for $99. When will Firefox support H.264? Likely never. Not without a plugin because of licensing issues. What are your thoughts about the HTC Evo 3D? Do you believe that 3D phones will be the new thing? I, for one, do not see the purpose in having a 3D phone, says RoboDude 2008. I agree. I do not see the purpose at all. I think 3D is a gimmick. Do you think the white iPhone is sexy? Look, dude, I've been white all my life. Do you think I'm sexy? Just because I'm white? Honey? She's ignoring me again. I do have a girlfriend. Hey, Chris, do you think internet service provider rip people off? You pay for a service like Comcast, Time Warner Cable, and you do not get what you pay for. It's a possibility. Impossible, really, to quantify. They're holding the reins and the keys. In what they say goes. And I think that is, again, precarious for the consumer, potentially, and even for businesses as well. Net neutrality is a huge issue. And I know that's not what you're talking about specifically. I wouldn't say that they're, they may be ripping me off because the cost of bandwidth has decreased over time, but they've started to charge me more and more and more. And, of course, I'm getting faster and faster speeds. But they're making bank. Oh, they're making bank. It's not even funny how much money they're making. How about giving away a few Macs? Be interested then? Oh, I'm sure you would. It's funny. It's funny, really. You ask someone, do you want a Mac or a PC? Oh, I want a PC. They said, do you want a Mac? No, I don't want a Mac. You want it for free? Well, maybe for free. I'll take it free. Either something's wrong with my headphones or your mic. It may be my mic. Hang on. Give me a second again. No, it's on. The battery may be dying. It's a battery-powered microphone, but it may be your headphones. Everybody else seems to be hearing things okay. What do you think Eric will say about Google TV? They may call a mulligan. I hope they don't abandon it. I love my Google TV. It is an amazing experience, and despite this remote control is like sensory overload, right? But I gotta tell you, overall, this kind of control makes more sense in controlling a TV than the old remote control or a classic remote control. So I appreciate that, and I also appreciate the fact that my TV is driven by Android. Is someone else also saying they're having an issue with the microphones? Taha says there's an issue. Hey Chris, what are your predictions for Adobe? Recently I was reading about many security problems with PDFs, Acrobat, and Flash. Is it true that Google even offered to help Adobe? I don't know that. If they offered to help, it wouldn't be surprising if they did. Adobe... Okay. I'm running macOS 10 Lion, admittedly, bleeding edge. What is it, 10.7.2, I think is what I installed. I went to run Flash Media Encoder so I could broadcast this live stream over YouTube, not so much over the Ustream. It crashed. Adobe software has got issues with Macs and with PCs. Adobe's their whole game is software, but it's just bloated. It's slow. It's clunky. It needs help. I kind of feel bad for Adobe. I think they hold a lot of promise, but they're I don't know. They just seem to be pushing their own selves into a corner. I think there are enough viable alternatives that you don't need to be relying on one company or another, and I would say Adobe included. My predictions for Adobe, they're going to have to make some radical changes. I really think so. I use Photoshop never. Used to love Photoshop Elements. Then I started using Picasa. They updated it far more frequently, and the price point is something that I couldn't argue with. Free. Yeah, 3D seems to be a gimmick. New rumors, says Rectify, are circulating Nintendo will release a new Nintendo 3DS that focuses less on the 3D. There's also rumors that are circulating suggesting that the board for Nintendo, I believe it was the board, are pushing Nintendo to release their games on iOS. That would be awesome. Oh, that would be awesome. Because imagine, like, in a non-jailbreaked fashion, or jailbroken fashion, being able to play Zelda or Super Mario Brothers on your iPhone or iPad. I think that would be a big deal. And then, theoretically, they could move on, or even start with Android and move one direction or another. But I think Nintendo would make a lot more money by licensing their games or putting their games on iOS or Android. That would be huge, huge. What is a really good free program for video editing? Well, if you buy a Mac, you get iMovie for free. Kind of answers the question. There are a few free video editors out there if you're looking for Windows. Honestly, the Windows Live Video Editor, what are they calling it these days? Movie Maker is what it used to be called. I think that's still Windows Live Movie Maker. A lot of my first videos on YouTube, or actually not all of them, but a few of them were made in Movie Maker or edited together in Movie Maker. I always liked Movie Maker. Always did. Should Apple ditch the iPod line and just focus on iPhone and iPad? Depends. Until the iPhone meets the price point of the iPod Touch, I don't think they're going to stop producing the iPod Touch. It's about price. And if you don't believe it's about price, look what people did with the HP Touchpad this weekend. They went insane. Not because the HP Touchpad was just awesome, not because they loved WebOS, not because they loved HP, but because of the price. It was all about the price. Price is just about everything anymore. I mean, good hardware, too. But you're like, well, $99 for really good hardware by today's standards? That's a bargain. What do you think of the Magic Trackpad? Do you use it regularly? I do. Not regularly enough, but I do use it regularly. Let's see here. I'm looking for more general questions here because we've got a lot of good questions here. But I mean, they tend to be Mac or Google. Well, I guess that's the entire industry. Well, I guess we've covered HP, so we've covered PCs, we've covered Apple, Google, Facebook a little bit. Any other questions, or might we just kind of wrap it up and see how well we did? Given that I did not announce this really, and it's late at night, just to see what was happening, just to see if the YouTube Live thing could work, and seemingly it has worked. I'm going to go ahead and close it out now. That being said, you're more than welcome to continue to ask questions. We do have a regular live chat room at live.pirillo.com when I'm not broadcasting live on YouTube. Also, I need to tease out the YouTube channel that's open for everybody. We've got two new ones, Questions to Answer and Brick Tricks. If you have a question and you want to ask it by way of video, you can upload your question to this channel. Or if you have a brick-related or a Lego-related video, you can upload it to the Brick Tricks channel. Go over to lockergnome.com/upload. In there, you just drag your video in there, you give it a title, keywords, etc. They'll be uploaded to either Questions to Answer, which we are doing our best to answer those questions, or if it's a Lego-related video, going into our Brick Tricks channel. So there, two channels that you can directly participate in, and you'll see more interplay with the official Locker Gnome channel as we continue to, I guess, roll forward into this universe of geekery. It's not just tech. We're geeks. Come on. I mean, tech is just one area of our lives, right? Your life is not just technology, is it? It'd be kind of sad if it was. Either way, I think we're done, or done-ish. Let me see if I can figure out how to... I just pressed the stop broadcasting button. I was looking for the right tab to stop broadcasting. But thank you, everybody who was paying attention this late at night. And we'll see how it goes. If you comment and say you want to do it again, we'll do it again. And answer your questions in a very live capacity. As I said before, we have live.pirillo.com. It's happening right now. All the time. Don't need to set a start or stop time. And then also lockergnome.com for daily tech information. General geekery can be had if you follow me on Google+, Chris Pirillo. I'm verified there at Chris Pirillo on Twitter, facebook.com/Chris Pirillo. And if I'm not online, I'm probably hanging out with my girlfriend. Say something, honey.
Hello.
See? That's not me throwing my voice. Actually, here, talk, and I'll pretend to be.
Hey. Hello.